It was a cold evening in New York City, and the soft golden lights of the rooftop venue reflected on the glass walls as guests gathered for what seemed like a dream engagement party. Ethan Miller, a 28-year-old businessman with a calm charm, stood nervously near the bar, adjusting his tie again and again. The laughter of people filled the air, but his heart was heavy. He wasn't nervous because he was about to get engaged to Sophia Bennett, one of the most admired women in the city, but because of a secret only he knew. He hadn't agreed to this engagement for love. It was all for money. Sophia looked breathtaking that night, wearing a white gown with soft pearls that shimmered under the lights. Her brown curls fell gently on her shoulders as she moved through the crowd, greeting guests with her warm smile. She was kind, honest, and believed in love more than anything else. Everyone said she was lucky to have Ethan, successful, respectful, and handsome. But if only they knew the truth. Ethan's company had been struggling for months. His father's medical bills had drained their savings, and their small family business was near bankruptcy. When Mr. Bennett, Sophia's father and a well-known real estate tycoon, offered Ethan a business partnership on one condition: to marry his daughter, Ethan saw no other way. It wasn't that he disliked Sophia. In fact, he admired her deeply. But his heart wasn't in it. He was marrying for survival, not love. As the evening went on, Ethan's best friend, Daniel, whispered to him, "You don't look happy, man. It's your engagement night. What's going on?" Ethan forced a smile. "Just tired," he said. But inside, guilt was eating him alive. Sophia approached him, her smile glowing. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. Ethan nodded. "Yeah, just overwhelmed. Everything's perfect." Her eyes sparkled. "You deserve it. We both do." A few hours later, when everyone gathered around to raise a toast, Ethan's secret was just seconds away from exposure. Unknowingly, the truth was about to come out, not by him, but by someone who wanted to destroy everything. Standing in the back of the hall was Chloe, Sophia's cousin. She had once dated Ethan years ago, back when he was still trying to make something of himself. She still hadn't forgiven him for walking away from her when he couldn't afford the lifestyle she wanted. When she found out about his engagement with Sophia, jealousy consumed her. She dug deeper and discovered the truth: Ethan was marrying Sophia for her father's money and business partnership. As Ethan raised his glass to speak, Chloe walked up to the stage, her heels clicking against the marble floor. "I think before we all celebrate, there's something everyone should know," she said loudly. The music stopped. Guests turned toward her. Sophia frowned, confused. "Chloe, what are you doing?" Chloe smirked. "I'm just making sure everyone knows the truth about your fiancé." Ethan froze. His heart started pounding. "Chloe, this isn't the time," but she cut him off. "The time? Oh, I think it's the perfect time. Everyone should know that Ethan isn't marrying you because he loves you. He's marrying you because your father promised him a deal worth millions." The crowd gasped. Sophia's face turned pale. "That's not true," she whispered, but her voice trembled. Ethan stood there, unable to speak. He wanted to deny it, but guilt had already painted his silence as confirmation. Tears welled in Sophia's eyes. "Ethan, tell me she's lying. Please." Ethan looked at her, and for the first time, he couldn't lie. His voice was soft, broken. "It's complicated, Sophia. I didn't plan it like this." She took a step back, shaking her head. "So it's true. You were marrying me for money." The silence was heavy. Everyone watched as Sophia turned and ran out of the hall. Ethan followed, calling her name. "Sophia, wait." She stopped near the elevator, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Was any of it real, Ethan? The way It's your engagement night. What's going on?" Ethan forced a smile. "Just tired," he said. But inside, guilt was eating him alive. Sophia approached him, her smile glowing. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. Ethan nodded. "Yeah, just overwhelmed. Everything's perfect." Her eyes sparkled. "You deserve it. We both do." A few hours later, when everyone gathered around to raise a toast, Ethan's secret was just seconds away from exposure. Unknowingly, the truth was about to come out, not by him, but by someone who wanted to destroy everything. Standing in the back of the hall was Chloe, Sophia's cousin. She had once dated Ethan years ago, back when he was still trying to make something of himself. She still hadn't forgiven him for walking away from her when he couldn't afford the lifestyle she wanted. When she found out about his engagement with Sophia, jealousy consumed her. She dug deeper and discovered the truth: Ethan was marrying Sophia for her father's money and business partnership. As Ethan raised his glass to speak, Chloe walked up to the stage, her heels clicking against the marble floor. "I think before we all celebrate, there's something everyone should know," she said loudly. The music stopped. Guests turned toward her. Sophia frowned, confused. "Chloe, what are you doing?" Chloe smirked. "I'm just making sure everyone knows the truth about your fiancé." Ethan froze. His heart started pounding. "Chloe, this isn't the time," but she cut him off. "The time? Oh, I think it's the perfect time. Everyone should know that Ethan isn't marrying you because he loves you. He's marrying you because your father promised him a deal worth millions." The crowd gasped. Sophia's face turned pale. "That's not true," she whispered, but her voice trembled. Ethan stood there, unable to speak. He wanted to deny it, but guilt had already painted his silence as confirmation. Tears welled in Sophia's eyes. "Ethan, tell me she's lying. Please." Ethan looked at her, and for the first time, he couldn't lie. His voice was soft, broken. "It's complicated, Sophia. I didn't plan it like this." She took a step back, shaking her head. "So it's true. You were marrying me for money." The silence was heavy. Everyone watched as Sophia turned and ran out of the hall. Ethan followed, calling her name. "Sophia, wait." She stopped near the elevator, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Was any of it real, Ethan? The way you looked at me, the way you said you cared?" Ethan swallowed hard. "Sophia, I swear I never wanted to hurt you. I did it because I had no choice. My father's health, our company," but Sophia interrupted, her voice cracking. "So you used me?" Ethan's chest tightened. "No, at first, yes, it was about the money. But then I started falling for you. Every moment we spent together changed me." Sophia shook her head, disbelief in her eyes. "You don't fall in love by lying, Ethan." The elevator doors opened, and she stepped inside, leaving Ethan standing alone as the doors closed in front of him. The crowd behind him had already begun whispering. His perfect night had turned into a disaster. For days, Sophia avoided him. The media picked up the story: businessman exposed for gold-digging engagement. Ethan's company lost investors, and his reputation shattered. He didn't care about that anymore, he just wanted Sophia back. He called her every day, sent letters, waited outside her office, but she never responded. A week later, Ethan received an unexpected visit from Mr. Bennett. "You've humiliated my daughter," the man said coldly. "Whatever deal we had is off." Ethan nodded silently. "I deserve that, sir. But please, tell her I truly love her now." Mr. Bennett shook his head. "You should have thought about that before using her." 3 months passed. Ethan sold his company to pay his father's medical bills and moved to a small apartment. He started over, working hard to rebuild his life from scratch. Meanwhile, Sophia tried to move on, but her heart refused to forget him. Every place reminded her of the man she once trusted. One rainy evening, Sophia was driving home when she saw a familiar figure standing under a streetlight, soaked, holding a box of flowers. It was Ethan. Her heart skipped a beat. She parked the car and stepped out. "What are you doing here?" she asked. He looked at her with tired eyes. "I needed to see you one last time. Not to ask for forgiveness, but to thank you." Sophia frowned. "For what?" He smiled faintly. "For showing me what real love means. I ruined everything because I was desperate. But because of you, I've learned what honesty costs, and what it's worth." Sophia looked at him, her emotions conflicting. "Ethan, I don't know if I can ever trust you again. He nodded. I understand. I just wanted you to know that the deal is gone, the company is gone, but my feelings for you are real. That's all I have left. There was silence. The rain kept falling between them. Then, softly, Sophia said, people can change, but it takes time. Ethan smiled sadly. Then I'll wait, even if it takes forever. Months later, Sophia attended a charity event in the city. To her surprise, Ethan was there, not as a guest, but as one of the main sponsors. He had started a new company, built honestly, with no shortcuts. When their eyes met, she saw something different in him, sincerity. After the event, she approached him. You did it, she said softly. You rebuilt yourself. Ethan smiled, with the hope that one day, you'd see me differently. Sophia hesitated for a moment, then whispered, maybe that day is today. He looked at her, unsure. Are you saying? She interrupted with a small smile. I'm saying, let's start again. This time, for love, not money. Ethan's heart filled with warmth. He reached out his hand, and she took it. The lights of New York twinkled behind them, just like they did that night months ago, but this time, there were no secrets, no lies. Just two hearts finally learning to love for the right reasons. Months passed after Sophia and Ethan decided to start fresh. Their new beginning wasn't easy. Trust, once broken, takes time to rebuild, and Sophia had her moments of doubt. Ethan understood that. He didn't expect forgiveness overnight, but he was determined to prove that this time, his intentions were pure. He had started his new business from scratch, a small real estate firm that focused on helping low-income families find affordable homes. Unlike before, there were no shortcuts, no deals made out of desperation. Every success he earned came from hard work and honesty. Sophia often visited his office, sometimes bringing coffee, sometimes just standing quietly in the corner, watching him work. There was something different about Ethan now. The greed and desperation that once clouded his eyes were gone. In their place was calm confidence. One evening, as they walked along the Hudson River, Sophia said softly, "You've changed a lot." Ethan smiled gently. "I had to. Losing you taught me what matters." She looked out at the water. "And what matters now?" He replied without hesitation, "You." She turned to face him, her heart racing. But instead of saying anything, she just smiled and continued walking. They weren't in a rush anymore. Their relationship grew quietly, built on small moments, morning texts, late-night phone calls, and random coffee breaks. Still, not everyone believed in their second chance. Chloe, the cousin who had exposed Ethan, couldn't stand seeing them together again. "Sophia, don't be foolish," she warned one afternoon when they met at a cafe. "He fooled you once, he'll do it again." Sophia sighed. "You don't know him like I do now. People can change, Chloe." But Chloe laughed bitterly. "No one changes that much, Sophia. He's just good at pretending." Sophia left without arguing. Deep down, she knew Chloe's words came from bitterness, not concern. Yet those words echoed in her mind for days. Could she really trust Ethan again? That question was answered sooner than she expected. One morning, Sophia received a call from her father's secretary. "Miss Bennett, there's been a serious issue with your father's investment project. Someone leaked confidential files to a competitor." Sophia rushed to her father's office, where chaos filled the room. Her father's face was red with anger. "We've lost millions, Sophia. The documents came from someone inside the company. Do you know who handled those contracts?" Sophia froze when she heard Ethan's name mentioned by one of the board members. "It looks like the files came from an email connected to Mr. Miller's company," the man said. "Mr. Bennett's voice turned cold. "I knew he couldn't be trusted." Sophia's heart sank. "There must be a mistake," she said quickly. "Ethan wouldn't do that." "Then find proof," her father said sharply. "Because right now, all evidence points to him." That evening, Sophia confronted Ethan. "Tell me the truth," she said, her voice trembling. "Did you send my father's files to another firm?" Ethan looked shocked. "What? No. I'd never do that. But your company email, someone must have hacked it, he interrupted. Sophia, you have to believe me. Her eyes filled with tears. Ethan, I want to, but it's happening again. Every time I start trusting you, something breaks it. Ethan stepped closer. Please, just give me time to prove I'm innocent. Days passed as Ethan tried to trace the leak. He worked with cybersecurity experts, digging through digital records. Finally, he found something. The files had been sent from a spoofed email using his name. The IP address led back to Chloe's assistant, who had recently been seen meeting with one of Bennett Corporation's competitors. Ethan rushed to Sophia's apartment that night. I found it, he said breathlessly. It wasn't me. It was Chloe's assistant. She did it to make me look guilty. Sophia stared at the documents in his hand, her heart pounding. Are you sure? Ethan nodded. I traced every detail. Here's the report. Sophia's hands shook as she read the evidence. A mix of relief and anger filled her chest. She did this to ruin us. The next day, Sophia confronted Chloe. How could you do this? She demanded. Chloe rolled her eyes. Oh, please, I didn't do anything myself. My assistant might have gone too far, but honestly, you're the one to blame. You keep forgiving people who don't deserve it. Sophia's voice trembled with fury. You destroyed innocent lives, Chloe. Ethan worked so hard to rebuild his name, and you tried to ruin it again. Chloe smirked. Well, now you know what kind of people you attract. Sophia slapped her across the face before walking out. She went straight to Ethan's office, tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I should have believed you. Ethan gently wiped her tears. You had every reason to doubt. But I'm just glad you came. She hugged him tightly, and for the first time in months, the weight between them disappeared. Later, Mr. Bennett himself visited Ethan. I misjudged you, he admitted. You've proven yourself, son. He extended his hand. Let's start over. Ethan shook his hand, humbled. Thank you, sir. I'll never let Sophia down again. As time passed, Ethan's business grew rapidly, not because of fame or power, but because of trust and integrity. People began to see him as a symbol of redemption. Sophia stood by his side, proud and deeply in love. A year later, they finally decided to marry again, this time, in a small garden surrounded by close friends and family. As Sophia walked down the aisle in a simple lace gown, Ethan's eyes filled with emotion. When she reached him, she smiled softly and whispered, "No secrets this time." He smiled back. "No secrets. Just us." The ceremony was beautiful, filled with laughter and promises that came straight from the heart. After exchanging vows, it's how real power works. Ethan stood up. Then I'm not interested. Mark's expression changed instantly. Think carefully, Ethan. I can make or break you. Ethan replied firmly, then do what you must. I'm not selling my integrity again. When he returned home, Sophia saw the tension on his face. You said no, didn't you? She asked softly. He nodded. I'm not going back to that kind of life, Sophia. No amount of money is worth losing your trust again. She smiled proudly. That's the man I married. But Mark wasn't someone who accepted rejection easily. Within weeks, rumors began to spread about Ethan's company, fake stories about tax evasion and fraud. Social media picked it up, and soon the headlines read, Ethan Miller's empire built on lies. Investors panicked. Within a month, his company's stock crashed. Ethan sat in his office, his head buried in his hands. It's happening again, he muttered. Sophia placed her hand on his shoulder. We'll fix it, Ethan. Just like before. Ethan hired investigators to trace the source of the rumors, and once again, he found the trail leading back to Mark's firm. They had forged documents and leaked them to the press to destroy his credibility. Ethan could have fought back legally, but it would take months, maybe years, to clear his name. Sophia stayed strong beside him, encouraging him not to give up. People may doubt you now, she said one night, but truth always comes out. Her words gave him strength. Weeks later, Ethan was invited to a business conference to speak about ethics in entrepreneurship. He almost refused, afraid of public humiliation, but Sophia convinced him to go. "This is your chance to show the world who you really are," she said. On the day of the event, Ethan stood before a large audience, feeling nervous but determined. "Years ago," he began, "I made choices out of fear and greed. I hurt people I loved, and I lost everything. When I rebuilt my life, I promised myself that I would never compromise my values again, not even for success. Integrity isn't something you trade for profit. It's the foundation that keeps everything standing." The hall was silent. His words carried honesty, not perfection. After the speech, something unexpected happened. Several influential business leaders approached him, offering support. One of them, a respected philanthropist named Olivia Grant, said, "Ethan, I believe in what you stand for. Let's rebuild your company together, the right way." Within months, Ethan's business started recovering, stronger than ever. Mark's illegal activities were later exposed by a whistleblower, clearing Ethan's name completely. When the news broke, Sophia hugged him tightly. "See, truth always wins." Ethan smiled, tears glistening in his eyes. "Only because you never gave up on me." Years later, Ethan and Sophia stood in front of their new office building. The sign read, "Miller and Bennett Homes, Building with Heart." They had turned their company into a foundation that helped struggling families own homes. During the grand opening, a journalist asked Ethan, "You've gone from scandal to success twice. What's your secret?" Ethan smiled and looked at Sophia before answering, "Forgiveness. Because when someone believes in you even after you fail, it gives you the strength to become someone better." The journalist nodded, touched by his words. As the crowd applauded, Sophia whispered, "You did it, Ethan. Not just for us, but for everyone watching." He held her hand and said softly, "No, we did it, together." That night, they returned home, sitting by the window, watching the city lights. "Do you ever think about the past?" Sophia asked. Ethan nodded. "Every day. But now, when I do, I'm grateful for it. If I hadn't made those mistakes, I wouldn't have found the meaning of love or honesty." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "Maybe that's what life is, falling, learning, and rising again." He smiled and kissed her